Shalom. I want to start off by saying Kal Halal Yamla, Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth and who rule well. Peace and citations unto the Akim that are spread around the four corners of the earth, spreading this word in sincerity and in truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. God. So I was reading the book of Acts, the 11th chapter, and I was doing some studying about it. So I want to jump into this part. Acts 11 verse 6. I want to go into that breakdown. So without further ado, let's jump into it. This is Acts 11 verse 6. Let me start at verse 4. Acts 11 verse 4. But Peter rehearsed the matter from the beginning and expounded it by order unto them, saying, I was in the city of Joppa praying, and in a trance I saw a vision, a certain vessel descend as it had been a great sheet let down from heaven by four corners, and it came even to me. So this is the Apostle Peter, the head apostle that has the key to the church. He went into a trance and he had a vision. Verse 6. Upon the which when I was fastened, my eyes I considered and saw four-footed beasts of the earth and wild beasts and creeping things and fowls of the air. So Peter, Apostle Peter, he saw all manner of beasts in this sheet. So to expound on that, these animals in the sheet, they represent Israel. Why? How? Because the Most High, he, in numerous occasions, he referred to Israel as animals. Let's get some examples. This is Isaiah 41, verse 14. And it reads, Fear not, thou worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel, I will help thee, saith Yahweh, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. See, in this verse, the Most High, Yahweh, Basham Yahushai, he referred to Jacob as a worm. Because what is a worm? A worm is insignificant, right? It's small. It's not something to be feared. But the Most High is going to fight for him. The Most High is going to put that spirit in him to fight. The Most High is going to cause these other nations to stumble. You see? So that's how Jacob was being compared to a worm. Let's get another one. Let's go to the book of Lamentations 4, verse 3. Let me turn off the other ones. Gone. This is Lamentations 4, verse 3. Even the sea monsters draw out the breast, they give suck to their young ones. The daughter of my people is become cruel, like the ostrich in the wilderness. See? So the Most High, in this instance, he compares the daughter of our people, meaning the women, as ostriches. You know, verse 4. The tongue of the suckling child cleaveth to the roof of his mouth for thirst. The young children ask for bread, and no man breaketh it unto them. So basically the woman, she isn't loving and caring to her children. You know, she ostracizes her children, meaning she leaves, because when an ostrich lays an egg, they leave it and they forget where they put it. You see? So that's how our nation is being compared to ostriches and to worms, to all manner of fowls and all manner of creeping things. You see? Because the worm is a creeping thing, and the ostrich is a bird that can't really fly. But let's go on. You have the book of Micah 5, verse 8. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people as a lion. See? The, the nation of Jacob is also seen as a lion among the beasts of the forest. And the beasts of the forest that represent these other nations, these natural brute beasts, because those are these other nations, they don't have the law, statutes, and commandments, so that makes them beasts. You see? As a young lion among the flock of sheep, who, if he go through, both tread down and tread it in pieces, and none can deliver. God, that's the scripture also says. What was it in Genesis 49, I believe, that Judah is a lion's whelp, and who's gonna stir him up? The Most High is gonna stir him up. So Judah is that lion, you see. And also in the rest of that chapter, it speaks about how Issachar is like a donkey and stuff like that. So Israel is constantly being compared to animals. But in this instant, the beasts of the forest, those are these other nations. Go to the book of 2 Peter 2, verse 11. This is 2 Peter 2, verse 11. Whereas angels, which are greater in power and might, bring not railing accusations against them before Yahweh. But these, as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil on the things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption. Meaning, these other nations, they are the natural brute beasts. They don't know how to conduct themselves before angels. They don't know, because what are they doing with these so-called UFOs? They're demonizing these things. The IFOs, they call it unidentified flying objects, but we know what they are. They are the chariots of the Most High. They are the angels, but they demonize these things, these beings. So these as natural brute beasts, which is these other nations, the enemies of the Most High, they speak evil of the things that they understand not. Let's go to the book of Jude 1, verse 10. And it reads, But these speak evil of those things which they know not, but what they know naturally as brute beasts, in those things they corrupt themselves. Yeah, and man with man, man with beast, woman with beast, fornication, all these type of things. That's what they like. That's what they corrupt themselves with. You see? That's speaking about these other nations. But we, we as a nation, we follow these things. We mingled ourselves with these corrupt doctrines, these corrupt philosophies. And that's why we also are seen as a defiled thing. So let's go to the book of Psalms to prove that. Psalms 106. Verse 34. Till 37. Gone. This is Psalms 106, verse 37. It's like at verse 34. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them. You see, so we were to destroy the Canaanites, the Hivites, the Perizzites, all these nations, which are the nation of Ham, because they defile themselves, they corrupt themselves. But our forefathers did not do so. They did not obey the name, Salakia. They did not obey the order and the commandment of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So this is what happened, verse 35. But were mingled among the heathen and learned their works, and they served their idols, which were a snare unto them. Yea, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils. you see, and shed innocent blood, even the blood of their sons and their daughters, whom they sacrificed unto the idols of Canaan, and the land was polluted with blood. See? So because our forefathers mingled themselves with these Canaanites, with these other nations and their philosophies, they also are being seen as beasts. You know, they left their heritage. You see? And in multiple instances, like in Matthew 10 verse 16 and 17. Let's get Khan Salakia. I just got a phone call that I had to answer. So going on with the lesson, Matthew's 10. Verse 16. And it reads, Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. See? Multiple instances where the Most High, He sees us as animals and describes us as animals and these other nations also. So it's not a strange thing that Apostle Peter saw a sheet of animals come down. Other instance is also where, not to go too deep into it, Matthew 23 verse 33, the Son of the Most High, Yahushai, He's called these I call it Pharisees and Sadducees, He called them vipers, you know, vipers and serpents. It's also an animal. Let me just get it for edification's sake. 23, verse 33, this is Yahushai speaking. Ye serpents and ye generation of vipers, how can ye escape the damnation of hell? You see, and it's not a light thing when somebody would call you a serpent or a viper in those days. You know, those are words that would vex you to the point that you almost want to fight. You know, that you want to fight. But the Son of the Most High, Yahushai, He called the Pharisees and the Sadducees vipers because of their leaven. You know, the leavening of the lump. They come with false doctrines. You know. Even the scriptures were speaking about that the Messiah would come, but they didn't want to see Him as the Messiah. They saw Him as a devil, you know. They call Him the son of a devil. I'm going to the last example. Let's go to the book of Hosea. Of course, there are multiple examples where it says that, for example, the ox knows his owner and the ass his master, but Israel does not know. You know, in that manner, Israel is also being compared to ox and an ass. Let's go to Hosea 7, verse 11, and it reads, Ephraim also is like a silly dove, without heart. They call to Egypt, they go to Assyria. You see, Ephraim is as a silly dove. So basically, they without heart, without using their mind. They're silly and they just go to Egypt for help. They go to the oppressors for help. See, there's also a comparison for Ephraim and an animal. So, in let's go back to the book of Acts 11, where it says 11. Acts 11 and 6, upon the which, when I had fastened mine eyes, I considered and saw four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air, meaning the Israelites. And I heard a voice saying unto me, Arise, Peter, slay and eat. So this was for Peter a hard thing to do, as it's going to say, verse 8. But I said, No, not so, Lord, for nothing common or unclean at any time entered into my mouth. So you have to understand that this vision that Apostle Peter was seeing was completely new to him. He was in a transitory, he was in a trance, you see, and he was fasting, so he was very hungry. So the Most High, He utilized that state that he was in to show him something, to show him all these manner of beasts that were coming down from the heavens, representing Israel, that the Most High is going to clean them and make them good to consume, meaning good to deal with them, because these beasts were represented Gentiles, the ones of the uncircumcision, because without the law you are seen as a brute beast, as it says in Psalms. Let me get that real quick. Let me get the other app. Psalm 73, verse 22. So foolish was I, and ignorant I was as a beast before thee. So if you are ignorant of the laws and the commandments, then you keep on following and mingling yourself with these other nations, then you are being seen as a beast to the Most High. So now, these Gentiles, uncircumcisions, the uncircumcision, they are coming down to Peter, meaning that he is supposed to be the one that is gonna through, of course, the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is gonna lead them back into the circumcision, back into the church, and this is something new for Peter. So it had to happen 3 times, as we are gonna read, because 3 stands for understanding. That's when it was made known unto Peter that he had to deal with the other nation, the Gentiles that look like the other nations. You see? Because the Most High, he has cleansed them. Let me read on. It's Acts 11, verse 9. But the voice answered me again from heaven, what Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, had cleansed, that call not thou common. And this was done 3 times, and all were drawn up again into heaven. So Peter finally understood, because this was doublefold, that, let me just start with the part that the Most High cleansed them. How did he cleanse them? Let's go to Luke. Luke 7, verse 22. And it reads, Then Yahushua answered, Then Yahushua answering said unto them, Go your way and tell John what things ye have seen and heard, how that the blind see, that the lame walk, that the lepers are cleansed, that the deaf hear, the dead are raised, to the poor the gospel is preached, and blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. God, so just like how Yahushua, he cleansed the lepers, he led the deaf to hear, that's how Yahweh, his father, the father of spirits, he had cleansed these animals of their race. He started to teach them about the law, statutes, and commandments, to come back into the sheepfold, to come back to the remembrance of the Holy Spirit, and bring everything back to how it's supposed to be, because they are being grafted in. By who? By Yahweh Shem Yahushua, first of all, but Peter is the one to lead them back, you see? So that's why at that time, Cornelius and Peter were having 2 spiritual dreams at the same time, you see? So going back, and it says, Acts 11, verse 7, And I heard a voice unto me, Arise, Peter, slay and eat. So this is doublefold. When it speaks about slay and eat, it means that Peter, he had to consume and understand this new doctrine, this new thing that is happening, because before time, the circumcision did not deal with the uncircumcision like that, but this is new. So that's why it's doublefold, that Peter had to slay and eat. He had to understand this new doctrine. Let's go to the book of Job 34, verse 2 and 3, one of my favorite scriptures. And it reads, Hear my words, O ye wise men, and give ear unto me, ye that have knowledge, for the ear tried words as the mouth tasted meat. And precept on that is Revelation 10, verse 10. And I looked the Salakia, and I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up. And it was in my mouth sweet as honey, and as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. You see, so the little book represents the scriptures. This is wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that you consume. So this is doctrine. So that's how Peter had to understand this. That's why it happened twice, that the sheet went up and down. And the second part is that he said, verse 8, Acts 11, verse 8, But I said, Not so, Lord, for nothing common or unclean had at any time entered into my mouth. So neither did he accept things that were unclean at that time. You see? Let's go to the book of Job again. 6 and verse 30. And it reads, Is there iniquity in my tongue? Cannot my taste discern perverse things? So to Peter, this all was perverse. So he didn't want to eat it. He didn't want to consume it. You see? He didn't want to deal with them. That's the first time, of course, that's your natural reaction. If you are being brought up and trained up as a child with the law, statutes, and commandments and with the scriptures. But through the understanding of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, it was made clear unto him that he needed to deal with them, and that these beasts that were the Gentiles, those of the uncircumcision, the ones that were without the law, that they are going to be brought back into the sheepfold through Peter, the head apostle that has the key, you know. So with that, I hope this video is edifying, and I want to say Kal Halal Yamla, Yahweh, Basham, Yahushai, Basham Raka Kodash, Shalom Makyam.